Okay, so hola. Today, we've been working with the direct object pronouns for a little bit here, and today we're going to move on to the indirect object pronouns. And these we work with a little differently. It will definitely take some examples and working through things and breaking down to make sure that we feel more comfortable and confident, able to work with them. But my plan is for when many of us have finished with the notes today, for us to take some time, add some additional examples to the notes here. There should be space for you to do that on Página 4, and we'll walk through them step by step. So it may take a little patience, but you can absolutely get it, okay? So the indirect object pronouns, as you can see, if you look even at the English, are a little bit different from the direct object pronouns, in that in English we have to or for me, to or for you, to or for him, her, or you formal, to or for us, to or for you all, and to or for them or you all. And in Spanish, we have me, te, le, nos, os, les. And you likely will recall seeing these types of pronouns, the indirect object pronouns, before, because they are the same pronouns that you use with gustar and similar verbs. So if you have questions about that or what they mean when they're used with gustar, by all means, let me know. Important thing to remember, recuerda que siempre va a ser una persona o un animal. So the indirect object of a sentence will always be a person or an animal, or always, people or animals. It will never, ever, ever be an object, a thing, an item, as you can see at the bottom there. So I'll repeat it. And in order to figure out what the indirect object of a sentence is, you need to ask yourself to whom or for whom an action is done. And once again, the most important thing to remember here as well, the indirect object is never going to be an item. And this is going to be really important in terms of differentiating between direct and indirect objects in questions and sentences. So as you may or may not see here, hang on one second. Let me just hide that so you can see this a little better. So as you may or may not see here, what we have is some examples in English and Spanish. Sorry, that was my dog who dropped one of his toys onto the wood floor. Probably the big guy likes to hold on to things and then he'll drop them and whine when he can't pick them up. But in English, we have, did you speak to the nurse? So we have you, which is the subject of that question, speak, which is the verb, and to whom did you speak? To the nurse. So to the nurse is your indirect object, and you would answer that with yes, I spoke to him or her. Now be aware the word did in the English is not going to translate into the Spanish because it's really just implied by the fact that it's a question, that the sentence is a question. So in Spanish, we have hablaste al enfermero or a la enfermera. Did you speak? Hablaste. And then al enfermero or a la enfermera, to the nurse. That's your indirect object. And in your answer, you want to say, yes, I spoke to him or her, just like you would in English. That would be si le hablé. So if you're taking it from left to right, reading it from left to right, be yes, to her, I spoke. So remember that the word order is different in Spanish than in English. For our second example, did they give you a copy of the prescription? Okay, or did they give a copy of the prescription to you? Okay, so give is your verb. They is your subject that did the verb. Okay, a copy of the prescription is your direct object. It's the item that they gave. And to whom did they give that copy of the prescription? They gave it to you. So the way we would say to answer this in English is, yes, they gave me a copy. If we were being very literal, we'd be saying, yes, they gave a copy to me in order to answer that. And so in our question in Spanish, we have dieron, which is your verb, and that can mean did they here, or did they give, sorry. Una copia de la receta, which is your direct object. What did they give? Que dieron. A ti, to you. And of course, just, that's your indirect object. And of course, just like in English, you want to answer by saying it, yes, they gave a copy to me, or they gave me a copy. Because if I'm asking, did they give something to you? Well, yes, they gave it to me, or no, they did not give it to me. So your answer is si me dieron una copia. Yes, to me, they gave a copy. Our final example deals with this as well, where you're changing the object pronoun to fit the answer. So keep that in mind. So did you get the medication for us? So get is the verb here, or to obtain, which is like to get or to obtain. I use the verb to obtain or to get, one of them, the one that you may not know as well in the Spanish version here. So get is the verb, you is the subject. So you does the verb. What did you get? The medication, that's your direct object. For us is for whom did you get the medication? So for us, sorry, that is the indirect object. So in English, your answer would be no, I did not get, and you need to use the I conjugation of the verb to get, because it's asking did you, and then the medication, which is your direct object, and for you all, which is your indirect object there. Okay. So to say your indirect object pronoun technically. In Spanish, you have obtuviste, which is did you get or did you obtain. La medicina, the medicine. So what did you get? Que obtuviste, the direct object, and para nosotros, for us. Okay? And the answer is no os or les obtuve la medicina. Remember, os is for all of you. That's only used in Spain. And les in this case is for all of you. But no os or les obtuve la medicina. So very literally, once again, no, for you, I did not get the medicine. And once again, it's a process, and I will take you through it step by step on the board later on in class today. Finally, this is going to look very, very, very similar to what we've been doing so far. But into the back of Página 2, what you have to write here on Página 4. So it's important to know that these are, once again, typically used in the context of a conversation, that you need to find the indirect object of the question, replace it with the correct indirect object pronoun in the answer, okay? And be aware, as you could see in those examples there, that the indirect object pronoun that you use in the answer may not be the one that you use if you only replace it in the question. We'll go over that a little bit, once again, in more detail in class, okay? And when it comes to placement, you either put them before a conjugated verb in a sentence that only is one verb, or to the end of an infinitive or present participle. So infinitive is the original AR, ER, or IR form of the verb, and present participle is the form that ends with ando or iendo. If you're working with commands, they must be attached to the end of an affirmative command, or between the no and the command form of the verb and the negative command. Once again, we will spend some time reviewing this. Be patient with yourselves. It may take some practice, but you will get it, and we'll take some steps to help you work through that. Gracias.